I'm Em,
And I'm Lex.
and we're thrilled to welcome you to the Ready, Set, Coach podcast.
Now, we're not just your hosts. We're also mamas, entrepreneurs, coaches, friends, and co-founders of the Ready, Set, Coach community.
What began as a pandemic side hustle has blossomed into a vibrant online community crafted by coaches for coaches.
So when we're not immersed in our coaching community on Circle, we're busy managing our other businesses, navigating the ups and downs of life, and of course, recording this podcast.
This is where we dive deep into epic conversations about life, business, coaching,
and everything in between.
So are you ready, Lex?
I'm set, Em.
Let's coach.
Hello, Lexi Smith.
Hi.
What if we talked like this the whole time?
You have a very soothing voice. I don't know if I do.
I have been told I have a nice voice, which I don't think is the reality because I speak.
No, you definitely do. I'm the only one who actually listens to this podcast between the two of us. And you very much have more of a podcasting, like natural voice.
I've been told I have a face for podcasting.
I get it. It's good to be there. Guys, we're a little loopy today for different reasons. Personally, I live in Ventura, California, and I don't know if this is on the national news circuit yet, but we are having a once in a millennium weather event. I was woken up out of a dead sleep, my husband, myself, and my daughter around 12:30 last night with tornado and flash flood warnings. And again, I live in Southern California, and yes, I did say tornado. And then they decided it's those alerts that you can't turn off. They just like go out on your phone, and they kept dropping every 30 minutes. So we'd calm ourselves down or get Ashlyn back to sleep, and then both our phones would go, tornado, get to bottom ground. And it went off so many times that eventually we're like, okay, maybe we shouldn't ignore it. What if there's anyways, so we were up from 1 a.m. 12:30 a.m. last night. So
That's
hi.
fun. That's so fun. Where would bottom ground be in California when you don't have a basement and things are flooding?
So this has been the topic, what we were talking about when we went downstairs last night. And I'm like, I don't know if it's safer down here because we have this open concept with tons of windows.
Yeah.
CJ's like, oh, we could just get under the kitchen table. And I'm like, I don't know. And so I called my mom this morning because she grew up in Illinois in the Midwest, and tornadoes was an active part of her childhood. And she's like, you know that Emily knows, but everyone listening, I have a small bathroom at the bottom floor front of my house. And she said in the shower area in there. And then my dad pops on the phone and is like, structurally too, smaller rooms are safer. So
that's what I would have guessed. I would have gone into that bathroom because it's the only bathroom that doesn't, I don't think it has a window. Maybe it doesn't.
It has one, but it's small. Like a tree couldn't come through it.
Totally. Yeah, that's where I would probably tell you to go. Or even like right by your front door area, in the little foyer. But that's scary. What a fun way to wake up.
A random. So today we're going to talk about weather predictions of
Well, I was actually thinking we should talk about pilot season and like what's going to be picked up. And no, just kidding.
All the award seasons around the corner.
That'd actually be really fun. Maybe we should just talk about every TV show we watched this year. How many hours do we have?
We'd probably get better ratings on the show.
Yeah, should we? Should we just switch it?
Switch, pivot, 2024 pivot, ready, set, pilot.
Exactly, guys. Now we are going to be talking about your favorite murder and every TV show you have watched. But in all jokes aside, I am watching a TV show about these people. It's called Based on a True Story. And I started watching it and I was like, oh my God, this show is built for Lexi Smith. She's obsessed with murders, y'all. And so in the show, this character is obsessed with starting her morning with the Sisters in Murder and, the murder podcasts that analyze the latest murder. And this couple stumbles upon the latest big murderer in their area. And rather than turning him over to the cops and outing him, they enlist his services to start a podcast where he chronicles all of the murders that he has done. But it's like muffled his voice and everything.
Fascinating. You had two parts of that are on par. The murderino part, me liking podcasts, and the podcasting part. I do think I'd be a better citizen and turn them in. But
I know.
anything for the download. Just kidding.
They had millions of downloads. So turns out that's all we need to do is need to talk about murder and then give them fresh content where we keep murdering people.
Got it. So prediction for 2024, Emily Merrill behind bars.
No, don't take that back.
We keep teasing at this predictions for 2024, and that's going to bring us full circle here, guys, into what we're actually going to talk about today on the Ready Set Coach podcast, and that is our predictions for the coaching industry in 2024.
I can't stop thinking about me behind bars. I'd be too soft.
You'd run that place. You'd have BFFs everywhere. You'd like start a book club. It'd be like a lovely place to be if you were in jail.
I wonder if I could read a lot of books. That would be lovely. Be like, you know what, Mad Hatter, you need to meet Chainsaw Massacre. You guys would hit it off.
Emily, mayor of the women's prison.
Oh
I
my
100% have no doubt.
Oh, well, let's not visualize that for 2024. So, Lex, I love this topic. Guys, we really are like melty at this point.
They're like, when are you not? Touché.
You know what we should do? We should start doing this at like 3 a.m. and see how ludicrous our podcasts are.
I was up last night.
Just call me, send through one of those alarms. So, Lex, we're at the end of 2023. You all are listening to this at the top of 2024. Let's look at our crystal ball and let's think about what we think 2024 is going to look like in terms of the coaching. So why don't you kick us off? What are some things that you're like, hell yeah, this is going to happen?
So we're going to break this into kind of 2 sections. We did do some research prior to the show, and we're going to start with some trends that we predict that have some sort of data or something to point to substantial that support it. Then we're also just going to go in the latter half into some of our gut predictions, right? So again, coming back, the first trend that we believe the market supports, 2023 has been an expensive AF year. Inflation is high. And so overall across the board, we are seeing people being tighter with their wallets. And I don't believe that's going to change as we head into 2024. So I do think that we're going to see that affect the buying process in multiple ways. Multiple ways mean some people being slower to buy, some people maybe posing more price objections, or just needing to feel more sense of security before parting ways with their money.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Just for a little bit of history, 2020 was an incredible year for the coaching industry, and that people, all the money that they would have put on a trip or they would have invested in something bigger, they were able to turn the lens inward and invest in themselves. So we saw people pay in full money. They also were getting money from the government, and there was a lot more freedom to spend without overthinking or over shopping it.
So that's one. What's another one, Emily?
Well, I think we're going to see more entrants into the coaching market, more people who want to be coaches, which is excellent. But I think there's also going to be a little bit of retirement as well. There's going to be some people that maybe started their coaching career a few years ago. They haven't modified with the times. They haven't adjusted accordingly. They haven't been able to find their footing. And I think they will hang up their coaching hat.
And there was this big thing, right, called the Great Resignation. I think really it happened 2020, 2021. And that's when we saw this influx into the coaching market. Everyone and their mom, joke goes, wanted to be a coach. And some people, now that it's been a couple of years, have been able to really figure that out. Some people haven't. And we are seeing data supporting people going back to more traditional workforces.
Begrudgingly, oftentimes too. And what sucks on that, I'll just make a note. I think the workforces are back in control again in a way that they weren't in 2020 or 2021 during the Great Resignation. They're able to pinch their employees like they did pre-2020. I've seen.
A little, in some capacities and
Mhm.
other capacities, I still think that employees have a strong foot. So in my other life, in the PR life of things, I'm pretty tied into the HR data scene. It's just relevant to some of my clients. And some of the data we've been looking at in the recent months have supported the workforce overwhelmingly is wanting a hybrid workforce model where there's some level of remote working, but also some level of in-person interaction. So it was everyone wanted to be remote, and now it's coming back with we want our cake and eat it too. And it's putting some companies in a great position to accommodate. It's putting others in a really difficult place to accommodate. But I do think we're going to see this transferably show up in coaching, where some people are going to crave, yes, virtual coaching, but also more in-person coaching and experiences once again.
And I think that can look like a number of different things. It could be local community coaching where you're all based in Denver and you all are moms and you all have an in real life store and you want to come around and you want to learn from other people that are like-minded, and also to the point of people from all over the country or the world, but gathering quarterly or gathering annually in one place to learn in person from those people and deepen the connections with them.
100%. So we do foresee there being more hybrid coaching programs and models. What's another thing that we have seen supported by the marketplace?
I feel like this was the word of the year for 2023, but neurodiversity and coaching in neurodiversity. So, for example, from references in pop culture, I know, Lex, you're a big fan of The Bachelor, and there's been individuals on The Bachelor who have proudly identified as neurodivergent. It's becoming a topic that's more on the forefront. And with that, the need for executive functioning, coaching, and like coaching around people with ADHD or ADD and learning differences will definitely increase and be supported not only by individuals, but I also think by businesses and by parents.
100%. Neurodiversity and all the various challenges associated that, whether they have a title or not, has become more widely known, more mainstream, and thus the need or the ability to ask for help is becoming more known. And we've actually seen in some of our own clients who are executive functioning coaches, we've seen them have really, really great end of 2023s. And I think that while it's also a testament to them and their hard work, the market's understanding of what they are doing is also contributing to that becoming successful.
1,000%. And I think that coaching also will be more justifiable by schools and by teachers, by educators, and more like a required add-on to learning outside of the class. That's a personal prediction there.
That's her gut. That's her gut.
Yeah,
one.
that's my
Yes.
gut one. We're getting in that later.
So we have one more before we get into gut that we wanted to go over. I think besides neurodiversity, like the global buzzword of the year was ChatGPT or AI, right? So AI has affected the workplace in an unbelievable way. I mean, it's very, very mind-boggling to me still. I don't know what's going to happen a year, 2 years from now. It's been positive in some ways. It's been helpful for smaller business. It's also been negative in some ways. Across the media landscape, there's been countless layoffs. That being said, I think the people who are rushing to replace human capital with AI are going to retreat and reel back on that a little bit and realize it was a mistake to act so rash. Thus, I think, and it might not be towards the second half of 2024, that there's going to be an increased importance put on improving human to human connection. And one way to do that is by inviting in coaches to lead different trainings or focus on interpersonal skills or management skills to foster that human to human connection.
Well, jumping into my gut with AI, I'm going to jump right in, y'all. I think that AI is going to be a big part of the coaching world. I think we're going to see a lot of coaching apps that are guided and plugged in through AI, asking people, making coaching more accessible for people at all different price levels. I also think that in AI, more coaches are going to optimize and systematize themselves by utilizing tools that plug into AI, from content creation to finding the right solutions for their customers.
With that, my gut, and again, just a context, guys, this is such a huge freaking topic for the other half of me. I've done tons and tons of podcast episodes on this. With the increase of AI and the positives it can bring, I am seeing firsthand, and my gut is the level of skepticism is going to continue to grow. And I think that consumers are going to become, while there's, yes, still going to be a large segment who maybe don't even realize what is and isn't being automated, I do think because of how involved AI is with the media, there's a growing distrust in the marketplace. And so I really think coaches need to be really thoughtful and careful with how and where they integrate it, because the need for real validation and credentials will matter. So to kind of wrap that up, what I feel in my gut is that people are going to want to see more credentials from coaches.
Or lived experience from coaches.
Depending on the type of coach. I do, and this isn't a knock, and this is where maybe you and I disagree. I think for the more health-centric coaches, so
1000%.
Life coaching, health, wellness, executive functioning, anything that is not dealing with business.
Yes, agreed.
I think those certifications are going to become more important.
Completely agreed, especially when you're playing with someone's health or mental well-being. So for example, if you're diagnosing them with things or you're having them get on certain wellness diets, I think having that background and that study in that industry will definitely be significant. I'll also add, I think that there might be more niching down where it's not a general, I'm a health coach or I'm a life coach. It's a very specialized type of health coach or a very specialized type of life coach in a very particular stage of life. So for example, I can see more people becoming life coach, but with an emphasis on serving people who are transitioning from college into the real world. Or I'm a life coach and I'm specifically holding space and helping you transition into motherhood and into this next chapter of life.
Hey everyone, Lex here.
And Em.
And if you haven't heard, we did something pretty darn cool.
We sure did. We launched a completely free community built specifically for coaches.
Say it again for the people in the back.
We launched a free community for coaches. Tell them quickly who it's for and what we're doing inside, Lex.
Sure thing. So it's for anyone from the coaching curious to side hustlers to coaches ready to scale. And through the virtual platform that we've built, we've created a safe and fun space to learn, launch, grow, connect, ideate, collaborate, vent, and evolve together.
Nailed it, Lex. Now, while it's free, you must apply in order to gain a free membership. So we can make sure everyone inside is awesome, like us.
Apply today at readysetcoachcommunity.com. I'll say this is how I'll play off that one. I'm not sure if it will happen, but I think it's smart if it does. So I think it's the smart thing to do in 2024. I don't know if the market knows that widespread. I know our clients do. I know those in the Ready Set Coach community do, but I don't know. I don't know largely if that is going to become adopted. So jury's
Yeah.
out for me.
We'll see. At the roundup of end of 2024, we can look into this. I think the other thing too, let's see, one of the other things that was coming into my mind, was that I think there's going to be lower barrier of entries for people to work with coaches. Like I think right now coaching is wildly expensive, and I think that there's going to be ways that people are making it easier to work with coaches. Maybe that's more extended payment plans, maybe that's more group offerings, maybe that's more on-demand courses. But I think we're going to see an influx of like, it's accessible to the masses. But then on the flip side, I do think we're going to see that continuing rise of the specialized, high touch, one-on-one experience with a coach whose number will like knock you off a couch.
Here's how I agree with that. It's gonna be a little more specific because you're making my brain think. I think that we're going to have to compete with more variety of solutions. So I think actually Self-Made is a good example, because Self-Made is a program that Emily coaches on. And it started as one format, and it has become a lot more, you're the expert on this, but it's become more of a volume model, a lower price point form of coaching. And so that now is competing against a business coach. And so I do think there's going to be more larger scale, to your point, accessible options that we as individual coaches are going to have to compete against. I totally see that already happening for sure.
Yeah, especially with more money behind them to invest into advertisement or sponsorship or Facebook ads, all of the fun things. I think the last thing that I feel, and maybe I'm completely off guard or I'm off point here, but it's been a while since I've been in the corporate world, but I think that coaches in corporations will be more readily acceptable. We've already seen that they are readily acceptable, and I've seen like a bevy of coaches come in, but I think that it'll be more acceptable for you to have a coach paid for by your company to help you navigate as you grow within the company.
I agree, and data will support that there's definitely a larger increased budget and emphasis on supporting health and wellness and learning and development.
I think that in terms of like coaching within the corporations, it's more on keeping the client or keeping the employee retained. So if you're leadership coaching or you're helping that person become a better manager, that means that their subordinates are more successful. And as someone who left corporate because I felt like I never found my footing or support beyond your own manager, I think that it's going to be powerful. And I've also noticed that a lot of companies, they give you some sort of like learning and development stipend, or at least the bigger Bay Area companies seem to do that. And so if that means learning and development in leadership, or if that means learning and development in coding or whatever your area of expertise is, I do think that there's going to be this need to service this corporate client who has more money and resources and push from the company to invest in themselves.
Okay, so here's where my gut lands, and I'm thinking through this in real time as you share that. I think we're going to see very specific markets and very specific industries that are easier ins for coaches. So to your point, Silicon Valley, the Bay Area is, I think, a hotbed for coaches. Larger metro areas, tech companies, if you look for companies that have positions focused on employee wellness or DE&I, those are all good indicators of where or types of organizations that are going to be more likely receptive to coaches. So there's just a little hack of how to use that trend to your benefit.
I love it. Is there anything else that is pulling at your gut?
I do think that I will say I don't think any singular social platform is going away this year. I still think people are going to be hanging out on Facebook. I still think there's going to be people hanging on Instagram. I still think LinkedIn's going to be big. I still think TikTok's going to be big. I think it's just going to depend what demographic. I don't think Threads is going to be big. I know that was like in there for a minute and I could be biting my tongue, but in terms of where to focus your social efforts, I do think that the main players are still in play.
Yeah, that's a powerful accusation towards Threads right now, and I like it. And then what about
just
Twitter?
For coaches.
Yeah. I think that in terms of length and commitment, I think we're kind of like polyamorous at this moment, where I could see people investing in many coaches or wanting to learn a lot of things versus being married to one coach for a year duration. So I can imagine shorter. I see this is a gut thing, and maybe this is my own personal preference, where I want to learn something and I want to get to the end transformation sooner and faster. So
yeah,
like,
I think that's a personality thing for sure. Yeah.
And it might, she's like,
I don't know if I could say that about the whole market, but I do think that, yeah, there's a segment of buyers who want that. I mean, everyone in theory wants results. Right. But there's going to be more type A and more type non-A and all the things. So
A+, A-.
A-. With that said, Emily Merrill, what is their homework? For today.
Well, their homework. Great question. Oh my God, I'm doing the homework. This is huge. Your homework is to think about doing a little bit of an audit on your own business based on our trends, based on conversations you've had with your peers. You're in our community, talking to other community members. What do you want to adjust accordingly to meet 2024 trends and demands?
Guys, because growth doesn't come from our comfort zones. You got to move and shake. Keep up with things.
Are you reading self-development?
I'm getting delirious. I don't know. I've been up for how many hours at this point? Almost 12 hours already. Okay, guys, that's a wrap. We can come on in a year and see how epically correct or epically wrong we were. But we threw it out there. Weigh in, DM us in the community, slide into our DMs on Instagram. That's where we like to hang out.
Or
and
YouTube.
Let us know what you think. Or YouTube.
YouTube, if you want to see our eyes crossed, crossity.
I'm wearing a cool beanie today.
You look very Oregon today. It's good.
I am in my natural habitat. It's raining out. I have a blanket, a sweatshirt, and a beanie on.
Oh my God, there's a bear behind you. Oh no. I love it.
Oh, okay, on that note, next time we'll see you on the Ready Set Coach
podcast.
Yes.
Goodbye. Oh no. If you're enjoying the Ready Set Coach podcast, please leave a review wherever you are listening. For more information about Ready Set Coach, visit readysetcoachprogram.com.